Hello out there, comic book lovers. It is Friday. So you know what that means. I'm doing my Friday night reviews. I am going to take three comics from the previous Wednesday, so the three what I thought were the best, and do a review of them. And then I'm going to take the one that I liked the least. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad, but it's the one that I liked the least. And check it out. All right, and we're back for the best book of the week, in my opinion, and that is of the stuff that I got. Obviously, we are talking about Batman Urban Legends #1. It's the whole new Infinite Frontier thing. Turns out that there is 4 books in here. Right? This was not what I was expecting. I thought it was going to sort of be like another, the Batman Black book thing, where he's doing some other stories, other cases that hadn't been shown in here. But it's not. Oh, okay, so let's go over this. It is obviously by DC. It is written one story, the Batman, Red Hood and Batman, in Cheer by Chip Zdarsky. Artists were Eddie Burrows and Eber Ferreira, so the artists. And we have the Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy in New Roots, written by Stephanie Phillips and artist by Laura Braga. We have The Outsiders, written by Brandon Thomas, and the artist is Max Dunbar. And then we also have Grifter in The Long Con, written by Matthew Rosenberg and artist Ryan Benjamin. Excuse me. So, reading that stuff off sort of tells you that I was wrong. There are 4 different stories in this, and they are setting things up for things in the future. So the first one, we have excuse me, sorry, swallowed something down the wrong tube. Hold on. Let me clear this. Sorry. Excuse me. And of course, if I'd actually read the cover, I would say that here's like this, but we have Batman and the Red Hood, both separately investigating this new drug that has come out. It is called Cheer. It basically puts someone in just a really, 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 really happy, dream-like stance. It basically sends you to your happy place, right, inside your head. And doesn't do bad things to most people, but every once in a while, people get stuck in there, kills them. So there are some side effects. And so it's going back and forth between Batman and Red Hood separately investigating this stuff because they're not on speaking terms. But then it also goes back a little bit investigating Batman and the Red Hood's relationship, how it started out, boom, boom, he was training him, and then what happened afterwards. And you have Jason coming across this young kid who's become an orphan because of what happened. And then it leaves off at a certain point and says, okay, it's going to be continued in Red Bats. Next, Red Bats. This was a really good story. I mean, I have not really been a big fan of Jason Todd. The events of him being Robin and going on to Red Hood started before I started reading Batman on a regular basis. And I'm reading the trade paperback of Under the Red Hood now, but I really liked how this story worked, and it's a really kind of touching story because it shows how bad a relationship these two had. It started out fantastic, and disintegrated. And also, it has a really cool relationship developing between this kid that Jason's trying to help and Jason. Okay. Then we have a story with Harley and Ivy, where they are going back and forth between Harley and Ivy in a relationship. They're stealing something from the Iceberg Club, Penguin's place, and Gotham Now, where Harley's alone. So she's talking about New York is a city of love, Paris is all this, Gotham, it just destroys relationships. So it's going back and forth between them developing their relationship and Harley now in Gotham when she moves back to Gotham, and how she's alone. And it's just not working for her. And a kind of a plant is the continuing thread from there. Yeah, never really been a big super fan of Harley, but this was kind of a nice story. Then we move on to the third story. We have Black Lightning stuck in a place. They're in Japan that night. Kind of moves back to Black Lightning and Katana being chased by some bad guys. And the whole thing is kind of an action-packed thing. You get the bad guys coming after them. They finally get caught. And it moves back to them being separated. Katana is off doing something else. Jefferson's talking to Mephisto, who was one of the original members of the Outsiders. And they escape. So it sets it up for the new Outsiders story, which is going to be the Outsiders without Batman. I like Batman and the Outsiders. I don't like the Outsiders, so I'm not going to get this. Now, on to the next story. This is the first and the last stories are the great ones in this one. This is a grifter story. Love grifters. I have been a fan of his since he first came out in, I think it was 91 in Wildcats. Love him. And especially nowadays where he's just this kind of, he just doesn't give a rat's ass about stuff. So you see him, it's him and a bunch of other people on a mission, trying to help some people, and he screws some stuff up. And then we jump to modern day, where someone is narrating it, and this is Cole Cash. He's the best there is at what he does, except for maybe Superman Wonder Woman, and they'll list off all these people. So they're actually kind of making fun of the whole, I think, the Wolverine thing, saying he's the best at what he does, but saying, oh, this guy's the best, but there's like 10, 15 people above him that are better than him. I thought that, going with the whole humor thing. And this is basically him waiting for some people to show up. And he gets into a fight with some people that he thought were the bad guys. Turns out that it's his person who hired it's his other bodyguards. And he is actually now working for Lucius Fox as a bodyguard. And it's really kind of funny because, Lucius is like, okay, look, you screwed up, take the night off, and you have him have a little run-in with Batman. This is setting things up for, I don't know where. It just says to be continued. So I thought this was setting things up for something else. But you actually have a murder of somebody who shows up earlier in the book, a major character. The person is dead, and Cole Cash had been with her earlier, and so it looks like they're setting it up to have him have been the person that supposedly did it. We know he didn't. And this was a funny story, and it was really well written. So between the first book and the first story and the last story, I recommend this book. The other two were okay, just not my cup of tea. But Batman Urban Legends, good book. I'm going to give it a 4.25 out of 5 just because of the first and the last stories. And they're setting things up for later on down the road in these other books, which I will enjoy reading, or at least those two. So, did you get it? Did you not? If you did, let me know what you think. And either way, like, subscribe, and enjoy your comics.